This video uses illustrative images and some AI reconstructed scenes. These reenactments are not original behind-the-scenes footage of the film. A K-pop girl group, by day on huge stages, by night hunting demons. That alone sounded like an idea a major studio might instantly reject. 7 years after its pitch, this strange idea became KPop Demon Hunters. This video uses illustrative images and some AI reconstructed scenes.
A once uncertain project finally transformed into a global phenomenon. But where does a film like that truly begin? Not on Netflix.
Not in a K-pop star's recording studio. And not in 2025.
To understand these three animated girls, we must go back much earlier.
Long before the world knew the name HUNTR/X. At the center of this story is a young woman named Maggie. By the mid-2000s, this technology was already facing obsolescence, a fleeting moment in the digital age.
Her father was a film enthusiast with a huge collection.
Films from Hollywood to international cinema shaped her childhood. Kang studied classical animation at Sheridan College. She worked in the animation industry on major projects.
Those years gave her more than just drawing skills.
She learned to see a story visually, an expression, a pose.
A camera cut could tell things dialogue didn't need to say.
But the longer she worked, Kang realized a unique void.
She wanted to see Korean culture in a major animated film.
Not just as background decoration, but the world's foundation.
A story where Koreans could recognize themselves.
And other audiences could enter without every detail explained. She began exploring Korean mythology, beliefs, and supernatural imagery.
Demons led to demon hunters.
From there emerged the story's first core idea.
Strong women protecting their community from supernatural forces.
But at that time, K-pop wasn't the answer.
The film we know today did not yet exist.
At least one trace of that future world appeared early. After the film's success, the artist shared an early character sketch from a past period. It reminds us that characters don't appear complete overnight.
They grow over years, through pencil strokes. No one knew where they would lead.
A story where Koreans could recognize themselves.
But Kang felt the idea lacked something truly unique. Powerful characters alone weren't enough. They needed a public life, contrasting their secret world. What if both aspects originated from Korea?
That's when K-pop became the missing piece.
According to Kang, the original Demon Hunters weren't idols. K-pop was added later as their public identity. Suddenly, the story had two stages, before thousands of fans.
And in the darkness, where demons appeared.
The combination sounded crazy, but had incredible cultural logic.
Building the Protectors tradition, the team looked at Korean shamanism
And the role of rituals involving music, singing, and dance.
So in this new world, music wasn't just for selling albums.
Music could become a power to protect the community.
Kang also wanted the heroines to avoid a familiar trope. Perfect, cold, invincible female superheroes. She wanted them strong on stage, but clumsy in real life.
Eating, arguing, and becoming real girls. This contrast later became part of the film's soul.
In 2018, the story left the sketchbook. It moved into a much harsher world, the pitch room. Kang recalls nearly 7 years from pitch to release day. K-pop and Korean content were accelerating globally then. The timing seemed right, but it wasn't an easy sell. The concept's power lay in its instant clarity. A famous K-pop girl group secretly hunts demons. But from a good pitch to a 100-minute film is a huge leap.
Who are these girls? Why does music fight demons? What do the demons want?
How can a film be K-pop, fantasy, action, and comedy without chaos? The project later added Chris Appelhans, who became co-director.
Their combination was crucial.
Kang brought the desire to tell a Korean cultural story. Appelhans cared about music's power to connect people. These two ideas met at the film's very core.
An interesting premise can hold attention for 5 minutes. But to keep an audience, a film needs a heart. The focus shifted from "How cool are these girls?"
to a more private question. What happens when people hide part of themselves to be loved?
That idea ultimately became Rumi's central conflict.
The final screenplay was credited to 4 writers.
Maggie Kang, Chris Appelhans, Danya Jimenez, and Hannah McMecken.
The concept's power lay in its instant clarity. Fantasy, comedy, music, female friendship, K-pop, and Korean culture coexisting.
The team's task: make each element essential.
Rumi, Mira, and Zoey couldn't just be 3 pretty designs.
They needed the rhythm of a group that had lived, trained, and performed together. When one kept a secret, the others had to feel the distance.
When they broke apart, the audience had to feel loss.
And when they sang together again, the music finally gained meaning.
At a specific point in time, the project was publicly announced.
An animated film in development at Sony Pictures Animation.
Its title, K-pop Demon Hunters. Maggie Kang and Chris Appelhans were announced as directors. The outside world finally knew a K-pop demon hunting film existed. But development fell during the COVID era. Filmmakers and musicians couldn't always be in the same room.
The Golden Team recalled weekly Zoom calls globally.
a film about music's connecting power built during separation.
This was one of the project's most dangerous challenges.
If the music only almost sounded like K-pop, the world would lose persuasion.
HUNTR/X and Saja Boys needed songs for real-world listening.
So the team sought authentic contemporary music and musical storytelling experience, including contributions from various talented producers and artists.
In a pop album, a song just needs to be good.
In a movie musical, it must also tell a story.
Characters must enter a song in one state and exit in another. For K-pop Demon Hunters, the bar was higher. The song had to advance the plot and be a real K-pop hit. One of the clearest examples is Golden. According to Netflix, the song's direction began with a 7-page document. It had to be a K-pop hit and introduce the girls' desires and wounds.
It also had to align with the story's goals.
Ironically, this pivotal song was one of the last to be locked. Music supervisor Ian Eisendrath remembers 5 to Sock's versions.
Before they arrived at the final Golden, meetings were held weekly.
Each segment had to answer, what does the character need to say? What feeling should the chorus convey? It was countless trials, discards, revisions, and retries. A detail almost too perfect to be true. The songwriter recalls hearing the melody.
While in a taxi on the way to the dentist for a gold filling.
She brought the idea to a collaborator. From an ordinary city moment, a key part of the song began to form.
A part that would later resonate across the world.
Good music wasn't enough. HUNTR/X needed to look like a debut group. Outfits, hair colors, stances, choreography, formation positions. Everything had to tell the audience. They'd performed thousands of hours. And each person still had to be recognizable as a silhouette.
the production designer explained a key philosophy.
The girls weren't confined to a one-color, one-personality mold. The film's palette used mixed hues, pearlescence, and iridescence. Soft K-drama lighting, combined with K-pop stages, fantasy, and Seoul architecture. The goal: create a world that looked modern, feminine, and Korean.
But without simplifying it.
An idol doesn't just stand and sing.
So choreography became part of character animation.
Choreographers thought about clear screen movement. Which movements needed exaggeration for animation energy? And how could a fight still have performance rhythm? This is where K-pop, martial arts, and animation truly converged.
To build giant stadiums, concert lighting, soul, and complex battles.
Sony Pictures Animation and ImageWorks changed their scene visualization. The studio stated the team used a leading game engine to test early concepts.
Lighting, camera, scale, and action earlier in the pipeline. Even rough stadiums with thousands of spectators before deep animation.
Then the production story took a cinematic twist itself. Maggie Kang recounted pitching the film to Sony, and Sony declining it. The risks were clear. Asian characters, a very Korean story. K-pop, though huge, could be seen as a trend that might stall.
A project nurtured for years suddenly needed a new path.
Plus, fully storyboarded sequences.
They could show others this world, not just tell them.
They could almost see and hear it before the film existed.
The structure was then quite different from typical Hollywood films.
K-Pop Demon Hunters was still produced by Sony Pictures Animation.
But it became a Netflix film within their company relationship.
Netflix didn't replace the creative team that built it.
Netflix became the path to completion for audiences.
On June 6, 2024, Netflix publicly released the first look.
After years of concept art, scripts, music, storyboards, and production,
The project, once a premise, took shape publicly.
its name still bore traces of its long journey.
KPop Demon Hunters.
I can't believe this is happening. After everything, I finally get to.
The final cast revealed an interesting choice.
Characters could have separate voice actors and singing voices.
Arden Cho voiced Rumi, while EJAE became her singing voice.
Talented performers took on the roles of the main characters.
The cast also included other notable voice talents.
The animated world now had real people behind it.
And then, the day the almost 7-year journey had aimed for arrived.
June 20, 2025, KPop Demon Hunters officially released on Netflix.
No more storyboards. No more demos. No more incomplete characters.
Audiences finally saw Rumi, Mira, and Zoey as artists envisioned.
As living beings in hundreds of artists' minds for years. What happened after release was truly strange. Audiences didn't just watch the film, they listened to the music. They learned the choreography. They debated the characters.
Songs created to sound like K-pop hits began behaving like real K-pop hits.
A fictional world exceeded the film's 95-minute limit.
This particular track is perfect proof.
The song endured many versions, analyzed for plot service.
Then became a real-life hit.
It was the moment production came full circle.
The team aimed for HUNTR/X to sound real, and audiences treated them as such.
Just months later, the film reached a milestone.
Netflix announced it the platform's most popular film in August 2025. Sing-along screenings brought fans to theaters.
This is the moment we've waited for, rising up.
By 2026, the story went beyond initial success.
Netflix announced over 500 million views. Golden won a Grammy. Then the film and song won at the Oscars.
A sequel was confirmed, with the original director and a key creative returning.
A project that needed convincing now had a future.
Perhaps the most memorable thing is not the records.
Let's go back to the beginning, before the stage lights.
Before Netflix, before the songs, even before the name KPop Demon Hunters.
There was an artist looking at a blank page
and asking herself, why can't I make an animated film truly rooted in Korean culture?
This project wasn't born from a surefire formula. Conversely, almost everything unique about it could have been a risk.
Very Korean, very K-pop, very feminine, many genres, many colors.
An animated movie musical with idols who don't exist.
But not making it less special to be safe gave the film its reason to exist.
And that is perhaps the real history of K-pop Demon Hunters. Not a film that suddenly appeared on Netflix in June 2025. But the story of drawings from years ago, a 2018 pitch.
Countless script revisions, pandemic calls, rewritten songs. A project finding a new path to exist. And hundreds of people working long enough for the world to see what they saw.
Sometimes a film's history doesn't begin with a studio or a contract. It begins with someone seeing what they haven't seen on screen and deciding to try creating it. For the central artist, that thing finally carried a name: K-pop Demon Hunters. If you like stories about how a familiar film, object, or idea is truly born,
please subscribe to the channel.
Because sometimes what we see for minutes on screen
Took many years to come into existence.